I picked up an injured white fox in the garbage dump. In my spare time, I love sleeping on its soft fur the most. Later, its injuries healed. It transformed back to its original form, warning me with a fierce glare. A fox only has one mate in its lifetime. I already have a fox that I like. I will absolutely not accept. Put away all your dirty thoughts. I will not like you. After saying that, he ran away, while I stood there looking completely bewildered. Not understanding what he was saying, I always treated it as a cat. What does that have to do with a mate? Later, I bought a chubby Walking the dog home, I saw the white fox squatting at my door looking fully wronged. You humans are so fickle, he sobbed and said, can you throw him away and keep me? My fur is more and thicker than his. I eat less than him, and I can make money. I'll give you all the money I make. If you don't agree, I will eat that stupid dog you are holding. Picking up the white fox was purely an accident. I initially thought he was a Xia. On the third day after taking him home, I found out he turned into a human. Leaning leisurely on my sofa, eating potato chips while watching TV, when seeing a happy part, his big fluffy tail wagged happily. At that moment, I don't know how many times I recited in my heart the 2 4-word core socialist values. Later, he educated me with a look of disgust about the fox species. Then I realized he is actually a normal creature produced by evolution. So, can you eat dog food? I asked while rubbing his ears. Stop pinching. His face was bright red, stepping back with steaming heat, answering me seriously. I want to eat meat. I want to eat dog food. I am not a dog. That kind of low-level species that wags its tail at humans? I looked speechless. He is quite hard to raise. 3 months after picking up the white fox, he ran away on a dark and windy night. Before running, he warned me fiercely, a fox will only have one mate in its life. I already have a fox I like. I will absolutely not accept. Put away all your dirty thoughts. I will not like you. After saying that, he ran away, leaving me standing there dumbfounded. Not understanding what he was saying, I always raised him as a dog. What does that have to do with a mate? The white fox ran away inexplicably. I thought about it for a long time, but couldn't figure out what he was doing, so I just stopped thinking about it. Life afterwards was very peaceful. Until 2 weeks later, a partner invited me to a cafe to discuss a project. I went there with my laptop. Coincidentally, while chatting, I spotted that white fox at a glance. In his human form, very tall and thin, with very fair skin. Leaning against the railing, looking down at the crowd below with an impatient face. Mr. Zheng, do you know Miss Xia? Miss Xia is a major shareholder of Rangan. I arranged to meet here today, also because I know she often comes here. Why don't you introduce us? I froze for a moment, then realized who he was talking about. I shook my head and said, I don't know her. Just thought she looks very pretty. The partner sighed, unable to hide the disappointment on his face. His attitude towards me became a bit colder afterwards. I didn't mind, finished explaining the project. After getting up to pay the bill, I saw the foxman tilting his head, talking to a maturely dressed high-quality male. The two were leaning very close. So close, their bodies overlapped. Like a man holding a woman in his arms, more like they were kissing. I looked away without thinking much. On the way home, I passed a pet hospital and saw a big dog in the display window. A white I put my hand on the glass. It happened to look up and grinned at me. Raised its paw and pressed it against my palm through the glass. At that moment, I decided to buy it. Raising a dog is much more comfortable than raising a foxman. Dogs don't talk, love eating dog food, and are very obedient. When I'm not home, it always lies lazily on the rug, waiting for me to come home and walk it. I took it to many places. The beach, marine park, Silarium. One day I went to a cafe to buy coffee. The staff didn't allow dogs inside, so I tied it at the door and warned it to be good. 2 people suddenly appeared nearby. It was the foxman and the man who was very intimate with him that day. The man stared at the Samied's wagging tail and burst into laughter. Dogs, these creatures that wag their tails and beg humans for mercy, really disgrace the canine family. The foxman beside him also had a dark look in his eyes, looking at me gloomily. I ignored them, patted the Samied's head, and said softly, "Be a good baby. Daddy will make you beef meatballs tonight." After saying that, I got up and walked past those 2 people, without leaving them a single glance. When I came out of the shop, my dog was gone. The tied leash was loosened. Both the rope and the dog were gone. My movements froze for a moment. The foxman was standing at the door drinking milk tea. Seeing this, he said disdainfully and excitedly, "Look, he doesn't want you anymore. This kind of senseless creature. How could it be loyal to its owner? A fox actually drinks milk tea." I left in disgust. Calling the dog's name, looking for it, Asking pedestrians while searching, "Have you seen a white Sam?" Walked for almost 2 kilometers. I was getting a bit panicked from searching. Just as I was about to call animal protection for help, a cheap voice came from beside me again. "If it's lost, it's lost. What's there to look for in that stupid dog? Can't even use its smell to find its owner? Really a disgrace to the canine family. What's so good looking about it? Just plain white." I really couldn't hold it back anymore. Suppressing my anger, I scolded him. "Are you sick?" He froze for a moment. Then, in disbelief, "You're yelling at me for that stupid dog? You've only bought it for 2 weeks. Just because of it, you yell at me? Are you going to let the dog bite me next? You can't treat me like this." He was very aggrieved. So wronged he was about to cry. His originally long, narrow fox eyes were wide open, faintly gleaming with scarlet. But I was speechless. Couldn't understand what he was doing. "It is my dog. Of course I will protect it. Besides, you are the one who said we have nothing to do with each other anymore." I looked him up and down for a moment. Seeing him in a high-end custom dress, I held out my hand to him. "Looking at you like this, you're doing pretty well in human society. Settle the meat bill from when I raised you. I want to buy toys for the dog." He looked like he was about to be angered to death by me and started speaking incoherently. "A stupid dog. What toys to play with?" Suddenly someone called him from across the road. Interrupting his words, that person ran over excitedly. Looking at him with burning eyes, it was the partner from that day. He turned to speak to me. With an eager attitude completely different from that day, "Mr. Zhang, you know President Xia. Why didn't you say so earlier? Well, sign the contract for that project immediately. I'll have legal draft the contract right now. If you had said earlier that you have such a good relationship with President Xia, we wouldn't have had to drag it out for so long, right?" I was a bit speechless. Lost my dog and forced to work overtime on my day off? Damn fox. I smiled along. While the client wasn't paying attention, turned my head and glared fiercely at the foxman. His expression became even more innocent and aggrieved. Tears welled up in his big eyes, as if they would fall in the next second. It was already 7 p.m. after signing the contract. I walked out of the company exhausted, and saw a person and a dog confronting each other at the door. The white Samoyed's body was tense, paws rubbing against the ground, growling low to warn the bad guy with a fox scent opposite it, while the foxman comfortably crossed his arms, looking very disdainful and saying things I couldn't understand. Is he communicating with the dog? Can dogs understand fox language too? I was a bit in disbelief, stood not far away and watched for a while, before stepping forward to rub the dog's head, comforting him not to be angry. The foxman stayed silent for a moment, also walked over, lowered his head and squatted beside me. "I am also raised by you. You can't just pet him and not pet me." I was a bit speechless. Just now from the partner, I already learned his identity. Xia Xiyao, the youngest daughter of the Xia family in the capital, shareholder of Rongin, the country's largest semiconductor production company, considered the top tier of the wealthy. How could he be a shameless fox? I stood up and asked him with a cold face, "Did you just steal my dog?" "I didn't steal. That dog leash was too loose. It opened as soon as I pulled it. This dog ran after a sausage on its own. I couldn't help it either." I quietly looked at him. Without speaking, he bit his lip. Okay. I was wrong. But you are too good to him. Petting his head, buying him toys, and kissing him? I am very jealous. Obviously you only wanted me, this one fox, before. Didn't you say yourself that you have a fox you like? And have nothing to do with me in the future, telling me not to covet you. Is that assistant guy today the fox you like? I asked him with a cold face. You like him and still come here. Is this the loyalty you talked about? I am not disloyal. That fox is my biological younger brother, born from the same mother. He explained to me very anxiously. It was you who were hugging other women. I only said those hurtful things because I was angry. A foxman only has one mate in a lifetime. Unlike you stupid humans. Fickle. So disloyal. His voice got quieter and quieter as he spoke, and more aggrieved. Finally just wiped his tears with the back of his hand. You saved me. Saw my true fox body? And touched and hugged me so many times. You are the mate I have decided on. You can't let me down. Hearing this, I looked speechless. I don't like you. I touched you before because I thought you were a cat. No, canine. I don't know how your foxman tribe defines the term mate. But in our human world, hugging and touching do not determine a mate relationship. I told him very bluntly. I get a commission from that project. Consider it making up for your food expenses at my house these days. We owe each other nothing now. I don't like you. And I don't want to be your mate. Please don't do any more weird things in the future. Goodbye. No. Let's never see each other again. After saying that, I pulled the Samoyed and left. I walked very fast, wanting to get far away from this weird foxman. He didn't chase after me. I breathed a sigh of relief. After going home, I made beef, tofu, and cabbage soup for the dog. Paired with a bowl of dog food, sat next to him and watched him lick the plate clean. I patted the dog's head and said, "Making my baby hungry for a day? That Foxman is so bad. Let's go up and bite him if we see him next time." "Okay." The dog grinned, stretched out a paw and high-fived me. At night, I was sleeping groggily. Suddenly felt something furry rubbing against my chin. I thought it was the dog, and subconsciously pushed it away. "Baby, stop messing around." That thing froze for a moment, then rubbed even harder, and even stuck out its tongue to lick my neck. One lick after another. The wet, sticky sensation was so hot it made my whole body numb. I opened my eyes, and bumped right into a pair of pitch-black, narrow eyes. He stared straight at me, wanting to swallow me whole. "It's that Foxman." I tried hard to push him away. Scarlet flared in his pitch-black eyes, raised a paw and pinned my hand down. His huge fox body covered me, enveloping me airtight. White fur fell on my cheeks. I awkwardly turned my head to dodge, and kicked him with my foot very angrily. "Get away," he groaned muffledly. His body trembled slightly, but pressed down on me even more. "What are you going to do?" "Get away, did you hear me? Are you going to commit a crime?" I wanted to cry out, but heard his muffled voice. "I feel terrible. Let me hold you for a while." "Okay." His fox head rubbed against my cheek. His furry ears accidentally brushed my forehead. Unsuppressible whimpers came from his mouth. I froze for a moment. "Are you in heat or on drugs?" He didn't answer my words. His fox body is twice as big as mine. Fur covered the 2-meter-wide large bed. Pressing on me was really heavy. I was silent for a moment and patted his paw. "Can we change positions? Let me wait on top." As soon as the position was changed, I immediately broke free from his claws, crawled out of bed and picked up the knife on the nightstand, pointing at him. "Ah, you lied to me." He aggrievedly raised his neck and started howling. The sound was very loud and resounding, scaring me into shouting at him to shut up. "Do you want the neighbors to come to my door?" He finally shut up, just jumped down and lay on the floor, looking at me with wet eyes. His ears were also drooping, obviously sad. I pressed his forehead. "What exactly is wrong with you?" he said muffledly. "A fox in heat needs the scent of a mate to be pacified. My head hurts so much and I feel terrible. I could only come find you." I thought about it and asked, "So you and your mate also have a physical connection? It's not just whoever they want to claim. Does it also require matching scents? Is that what it means?" I weirdly looked at this fox in front of me who was hot all over because of heat, lying on the ground begging me. Contrasted with our size difference, I couldn't beat him or drive him away. I sighed. Brought over the clothes I took off yesterday from the balcony, threw them in front of him. "Will this do?" "Too big." He rubbed his fox head against the coat. I took 2 steps back and ran out. Ran to the second bedroom, locked the door, sat on the cold floor for a long time before feeling settled, yawned and climbed into bed, groggily started to sleep. I was really too sleepy. I'll settle the score with that perverted fox tomorrow. When I got up the next day, the foxman had already made breakfast. Cooked plain noodles, with a poached egg and some greens inside. It looks very appetizing. He looked at me cautiously, wiping his hands on his apron again and again, with a very obvious flattering smile. I chuckled, leaning against the doorframe with a cold face. "What happened last night?" He coughed. "My mating season has arrived. I missed your scent too much and couldn't hold back." He lowered his head aggrievedly and didn't speak. I knocked on his head. "Why does your mating season need my scent?" "Because I like you, and treat you as my mate. So only your scent can soothe me." This kind of forced binding relationship, I was suddenly a bit curious. If I don't give it to you, what will you do during your future heat cycles? Then you can just watch me hit a wall and die. He looked at me resentfully. "I have chosen you. Only you can soothe me. No other humans or foxes can do it." I was a bit speechless. Are all foxmen this forceful? "It's not forcing," he told me very seriously. "My people said, no human can resist a foxman's ability in that aspect, even married humans. As long as they sleep together once, they will definitely be willing to continue sleeping with me. Do you want to try sleeping with me?" "Shut up," I interrupted him, although looking at him already transformed into human form, that beautiful figure and charming appearance really made me a bit unable to hold back. But thinking that he is a 1,000-year-old fox, a species I don't know about, I dispelled the thought. I glanced at the food on the dining table. I asked him where the dog's food was. He froze for a moment, reacting and bristling up in an instant. "You want me to cook for a dog? How does that low-level species deserve it? Letting me cook for him? If I dare to cook, does he dare to eat?" He was silent for a moment, walked in front of me and squatted down, let out his furry ears and tail, wagging them back and forth trying to seduce me. "You throw him away and continue raising me. Okay, look at my fur. Denser and softer than his. More obedient than him and can make money for you to spend. Just raise me. Only raise me. Okay. His hands rested on my knees. In a daze, I remembered what I searched last night. Information about the Xia family's miss. Good looks, good family background, a born proud daughter of heaven. In the few public photos, she is also a rich lady looking down on everyone, which is vastly different from this foxman acting spoiled and pitiful in front of me. I was silent for a moment. Just as I was about to say something, I heard the doorbell ring, accompanied by a woman's clear voice. Are you home? I realized belatedly. It was my colleague who lives upstairs. She also likes dogs. We agreed to take our dogs out to play together today. I lowered my eyes and glanced at the foxman. His tail was tense. His eyes were filled with scarlet. Seeing my gaze, he smiled slightly again, asking me softly, Baby, shall I help you drive that bad person away? She is not a bad person. I pushed him. Go hide in the room for a bit. I want. His face was full of grievance. What are you going to do with her that I can't do? You can't treat me like this. A jealous foxman is unreasonable. The doorbell rang for a long time. Having no choice, I warned him. If you don't go hide, I will never talk to you again. He looked at me in disbelief. In an instant, his eyes were full of heartbreak. You yell at me for an ugly woman. He cried again, wiping his tears, while standing up and walking slowly towards the bedroom, sobbing and muttering at me, Be good, I'll obey. Don't ignore me. I was a bit speechless, unable to understand the foxman's thought process. I shook my head, got up and opened the door to let my colleague in. I don't know when the dog ran out. Running in circles around her happily, he seems to like you very much. My colleague looked down and patted the dog's head, looked up and saw the noodles on the dining table, smiled apologetically. So you made noodles? I thought you hadn't eaten. Brought you fried dough sticks. It's okay. I thought about it. Took the fried dough sticks from her hand. The noodles can be given to the dog. I just happened to want fried dough sticks. Thank you. It was already very late when I went home after walking the dog. I changed into my slippers. Looking at the pitch-black living room, thinking in my heart, that foxman should have already left. I couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. Opened a can for the dog, stood up and stretched. As soon as I turned around, I saw a pair of fox eyes full of resentment. I took 2 steps back in fright. Tripped over the dog eating canned food. My back happened to hit the corner of the table. It hurt so much that my tears flowed instantly. You deserve it. The foxman picked me up and put me on the sofa, rubbing my bruised back and saying with a cold face, Fickle humans should be punished. He nuzzled my neck with his head. If my face hurts a lot, you can pull the fur on my tail. He wagged that big tail at me ingratiatingly. I stared at the tip of the tail for a long time, pinched it with my hand and wiped it on my face, wanting to wipe away all the tear stains. His face gradually turned a bit red. Kneeling in front of the sofa, whispering that my heat cycle isn't over yet, Don't pinch too hard. I pinched it again. He let out an AOU sound. Trembling and covering his head and eyes, his eyes were already wet, shimmering with water. Seeing this, I let go of his tail. He instead anxiously pushed the tip of his tail into my palm. You can squeeze a bit harder. Baby pinches very comfortably. Hearing his shameless words at this moment, I couldn't help but curse him as a perverted fox. He whispered back, the ears on top of his head shaking, How is such a good-looking fox like me perverted? Don't you like it? I didn't want to argue with him about these things. And asked him, when are you leaving my house? I don't want to leave. At least wait until my heat cycle is over. He was a little angry. He asked me a little aggrievedly, whether in fox form or human form, I look very good and have a lot of money. Can raise many children? Why do you hate me so much? I shrank back and said who would find a fox to be a wife? What if I get eaten? Besides, you are so perverted during your heat cycle, draining me dry will kill me. No, absolutely not. You don't want a fox as a mate? He was stunned, then whispered, I can stay in human form all the time and won't let my tail and ears out. Is that okay? I shook my head, advised him kindly. I really can't. You should find someone else to like. Relying on your beauty and wealth, finding someone 100 times better than me is no problem. Not changing, he said with firm eyes. I am a loyal fox. I will only like one person in my life. I will absolutely not change to someone else. You don't like me. Then I just need to work hard to make you like me. He felt around in his pocket, took out a black card with gold edges and handed it to me. For you, unlimited limit. Swipe as you please. Since I gave you money, you can't drive me away. Then this shameless fox settled in my house. I don't know who he learned this trick from. Started to put down his arrogance and started to please that Samuel. Dog toys, dog food, dog snacks. Even when ordering milk tea, he wouldn't forget to brew a cup of goat milk for the dog. Not to mention their language is common. When I go home, seeing a fox and a dog snuggled on the sofa, watching TV while eating potato chips, felt like the whole world had become magical. I said with a complex look in my eyes. Dogs can't eat potato chips. Yes, they can. He turned back into human form, held up the potato chips for me to see. With 4 big characters prominently displayed, doggy potato chips, baby, humans can also eat a little. Do you want a taste? I shook my head and asked him sincerely, Xia Xiyao, don't you need to work? With such a big company like Ron, is it really okay for you to slack off here every day? Foxes in heat don't need to work. He sensed that I was not very happy, but didn't know what he did wrong. Put down the potato chips, with his ears drooping, whispering softly, my brother will help me handle the work these days. My task is to get through the mating season properly, and then bring my mate home. His brother is much more famous than him, the one who often appears in the public eye, the youngest son of the Xia family in the capital. Could it be that he is also a fox too? I felt my worldview had taken a hit. I asked with difficulty, then isn't your entire Xia family all foxmen? Only my brother, my sister, and I are, he said softly. Our mother is a foxman. The 3 of us are all foxmen. The genetic inheritance is very strong. If you and I have children, they will also be foxmen. He pursed his lips, went to the kitchen, and brought out a plate of strawberry cake. Looking at me ingratiatingly, baby, I prepared a delicious cake for you. Specifically asked them to add lots and lots of strawberries. They are all the freshest flown in by air. Have a taste. I looked at his face full of anticipation, hesitated for a moment, still picked up the fork on the side. Suddenly my phone rang. It was my direct boss. He said there was a project to discuss. Wanted me to return to the company immediately, counting as overtime. I answered yes, hung up the phone. Then saw the foxman looking disappointed. I cooked a whole table of dishes. All your favorites. Don't have time to eat? It's okay. Your work is important. Go ahead, baby. I support you. I am always your backing. You can see me no matter when you look back. I swallowed, not knowing what to say. I don't know who this guy learned from. The originally arrogant and proud stubborn fox, forcefully pretending to be a sincere and sensible green tea fox. You don't have to be like this. It's just a meeting. I will be back soon. Leave the food, I will eat it when I come back. I casually picked a strawberry from the cake and popped it into my mouth. Added, the strawberry is really sweet. Thank you. I only found out when I got to the company what the boss was in such a rush for. The Xia family sent someone to discuss cooperation and explicitly requested. Our team, Xia Xiao's younger sister, also came. She is much calmer than Xia Xiyao. Wearing a neat suit, with a face as cold as frost, surrounded by an aura that kept people thousands of miles away. After the project introduction, she remained silent, pointed at me a moment later. You stay, the others leave. Her fingertips tapped on the desk. Waiting until the meeting room was quiet again, asked me straightforwardly, do you like my younger sister? I hesitated for a moment, whispered that I don't want to start a family with someone for the time being. Sorry, no need to be sorry. I understand you. She nodded understandingly. The problem now is, he likes you, and has determined that you are his mate. Foxmen have a mating season once a year. Foxmen in heat, without their mate's scent, will suffer greatly. I hope to sign an agreement with you. Even if you don't like him, you can come and accompany him every mating season. I will give you corresponding remuneration as compensation. Actually, I have a question. I finally asked the question that had puzzled me for a long time. Foxmen need mates so much, and their mates cannot be changed. Then, once the chosen mate dies, what do? She smiled. You seem to underestimate the importance of a mate to a foxman. Among our kind, once the mate dies, the foxman will carry the mate's corpse to the snowy mountains. Find a cave. Not eat or drink and wait for death. It can be said that once a mate is determined, it's equivalent to putting one's life in the other's hands. Until I got home and stood at the door, I still hadn't recovered from Xia Xiao's sister's words. I don't understand. Survival should be the evolutionary direction of all living beings. But the foxman race is evolving in a very bizarre direction. Mates, mating seasons, dying without a mate, these things that clearly do more harm than good to foxmen. Not only were not discarded during evolution, but became even more crazy and extreme. It's too surreal. I can't understand it. Spaced out at the door for a long time, before taking out the key to open the door. Xia Xiyao was in fox form now, eating a pack of biscuits with the dog, almost fighting over the last one. I called out to him. The pure white figure froze for a moment and immediately turned back into human form. Looking at me at a loss, breathing is a bit more comfortable. I didn't know you were back. I didn't mean to. I want change back in the future, he said cautiously. Baby, just treat me as a human. Don't treat me as a fox. Foxman is just an adjective. I am essentially still a human. You can't not want me because of this. He kept pinching his palms, waiting for my answer very nervously. I looked at him with a complex expression and actively said, I'm hungry. Is there any food left from what you cooked? I have some things to ask you after eating. Actually, I didn't know what to ask. My mind was a mess. I didn't know what to say. Food that has been sitting for a long time doesn't taste good. I didn't have much of an appetite either. Ate a little and put down my chopsticks. Turning my head, the foxman was eating strawberry cake, stuffing cream into his mouth, bite by bite, his face full of joy and satisfaction. Baby, this cake is so delicious. Do you want a taste? I shook my head, initially wanting to ask him, is it bad to eat so much cream? But seeing him eating so happily, forget it. Foxmen are humans too, should be able to eat it. I pursed my lips and asked him, since your family is so powerful, why were you injured next to a trash can in the beginning? My rival overestimated themselves and wanted to kidnap me, to threaten my sister, but it's all resolved. It absolutely won't involve baby. He promised me, suddenly leaned close to my body, carefully sniffed baby. Why do you have my sister's scent on you? I met her tonight. I told the truth and asked her, have you ever thought about, if I insist on not being your mate, what will you do in the future? Baby doesn't like me. Then I might as well die. She shrugged. A fox that cannot get a mate's affection is the most useless. There is no need to survive. She spoke of death so easily. Wanting to leave this world is such an insignificant matter. This race's indifference towards life. Once again refreshed my understanding. I continued to ask, since you so much want me to be your mate, then why did you say you had a fox you liked before and told me not to covet you? Hearing this, the foxman coughed, put down the fork in his hand, and started to settle old scores with me. That day, a woman brought you back, and you even hugged him. In the foxman tribe, hugging is something only mates can do. Baby, you hugged me so many times. Still hugging him is a betrayal. His pretty face was full of grievance. Watching you hug from upstairs, I was so angry. You didn't even coax me when you came back. And at that time, my sister told me to go home. I said those things in a fit of anger and ran away. Actually, I regretted it. I know I shouldn't expect humans to be like foxmen, but I couldn't help it. The thought of baby being hugged by another woman makes me unable to help going crazy. Hug, I thought for a long time, before remembering, what happened that day was a foreign partner. Hugging is just a normal social etiquette in their country. It was maliciously misinterpreted by him as intimacy. Since you already felt I betrayed you, why did you come back? My sister scolded me. He whispered. Sister said humans are different from us. A narrow-minded fox like me will never get a mate's affection in a lifetime. Your betrayal of me only shows I am not good enough. I need to be more generous and treat you better to make you change your mind. Damn, what kind of ultimate love brain speech is this? Are all foxmen this weird? Okay, last question. I took a deep breath. Do you eat humans? His eyes widened instantly. Baby, why would you think that? Foxmen are also humans. How could we eat ourselves? He just realized. So you were afraid of this? That's why you refused to accept a foxman as a mate. A little bit, I said, but I'm not afraid anymore. You foxmen are very different from what I imagined. I waved at him. Can you transform into a fox? Tonight, I want to sleep in your fur. The Samiate is not as big as you. Not comfortable to sleep on. Of course I can. His eyes lit up instantly, like the brightest stars in the night sky. Good-looking, rich and loyal. Knows how to act spoiled, almost the perfect imagined mate. Moreover, he can't leave me. He is the one pitifully begging me to love him. No matter what I do, I have nothing to lose. Thinking about it this way, trying it out seems okay. Then let's try it. I have nothing to lose anyway. A foxman in heat can be very clingy. Really likes to act spoiled. Really likes kisses and hugs. The mating season generally lasts a month. So one day a month later, I couldn't bear it anymore and slapped his restless hands. Your mating season is over. You can't be this unrestrained anymore. He hugged me aggrievedly. I like you. So I can't help but kiss you. It has nothing to do with the mating season. If you don't let me kiss you, I will feel very uncomfortable. If I feel uncomfortable, I will go hit a wall. You are abusing me. You can't be like this. I didn't say you couldn't kiss me. It's just that you can't kiss my skin until it's all red, like it's cooked. I frustratingly pressed his head, took a deep breath, and said sincerely, I think you foxmen are better suited to find foxmen as mates. At least your physical qualities match. Well, after truly being with the foxman, I regretted my previous decision countless times. It's too terrifying. If I didn't have good physical fitness, I wouldn't have been able to endure it long ago. I originally thought life would go on peacefully like this. Until I was kidnapped. The one who kidnapped me was a frail young man, an enemy of their family. Frantically shouting at his phone, demanding my life as payment, this kidnapper was very inexperienced. Acting like he was making a desperate last stand, looking fierce and malicious, but actually didn't even drug me. While he wasn't paying attention, I picked up a small knife on the ground and cut the rope. The kidnapper was shouting into the phone. I suddenly picked up the knife from the ground and held it to the kidnapper's throat. He was alone in the empty space. I tied him up with the rope. The more I thought about it, the more something felt wrong. How did such losers bypass the bodyguards to kidnap me? Until Xia Xiao's sister found me and said with a gloomy face, "Something happened to Xiao." In this world, the Foxman tribe has two factions. One faction advocates living in harmony with humans and largely integrating with humans, the pro-human faction, believing in marrying humans. One faction treats humans as food, the evil faction that vainly hopes to slaughter humans and crown themselves. Humans are of course not to be messed with. They united with the pro-human faction. After several battles, killed almost all of the evil faction, making them no longer a threat. The surviving evil faction members deeply hated the Xia family. Once they almost managed to kill Xiao, but were unexpectedly interrupted by you. You took her home and healed her. Now they created the illusion of your kidnapping, deliberately luring Xia Xiao into their trap. In that jungle, Xia Xiao's sister told me with a heavy expression. They lied to him saying you were inside. By the time I rushed there, Xia Xiao had already killed everyone. The foxmen surrounding him also caused him very severe injuries. Not only that, he thought you died and has already gone mad. A maddened foxman can only be soothed by a mate. Sorry, we might need you to take a trip to the jungle. It's okay, I waved my hand and said without hesitation, take me there. Xia Xiao's sister turned into a 2-meter-long fox form. The huge fox squatted in front of me. Get on, it'll take you there. I froze for a moment, then climbed up and grabbed the fur on her neck, sprinting all the way. When I saw him, I was shocked. My poor little thing was gone. I saw a creature covered in blood, hitting its head against a tree, super loud. A foxman that didn't even look like a fox anymore. I carefully approached him. He was in great pain. The beautiful eyes were filled with scarlet. Paws forcefully rub against the ground, fresh red blood flowing with every strike. I stood still in the distance, softly called out to him, "I'm here." "It's okay." He turned his head, confusion flashing in his eyes, then turned into human form, lunged over and pinned me to the ground. My back pressed against the dry fallen leaves. It didn't hurt, just felt numb from the fall. He eagerly reached out, wanting to confirm my existence, whimpering sounds constantly coming from his throat, like acting spoiled, like feeling wronged, and like lingering fear. Tears dripped onto my body. He raised his arms, holding my body tightly, as if I would disappear if he stopped for a second. "Stop crying. I'm here. I'm fine." I gently squeezed his ears. "I'm here, baby. I am perfectly fine." Right in front of you. Given my personality, I actually couldn't quite accept the concept of only choosing one person for life, but seeing him fight everyone alone, just to save me. When he won, my heart was truly moved. In the second month after that kidnapping incident, Xia Xiao and I got our marriage certificate. Beaming with joy, he also bought new clothes for the same, carried her and moved into our new home. The new life is very happy and comfortable. Just occasionally people gossip. They say I'm married out of my league. I couldn't refute, because even I felt a bit like that. Xia Xiao's sister knew about those rumors. Specifically told me, don't mind them. Love is an instinct engraved in a foxman's genes. All of a foxman's evolution is yearning to meet someone they mutually love. Your love for him is his luck. Surely you clearly know too. The initiative in this relationship has always been in your hands. Yes, I understand. Actually, it's not fair to him like this. I hope he can be a bit more free, so that even if I die, he won't be too sad. Foxmen possess a physique surpassing most people in the world, and energy there is always a price to pay. We can't let us have all the good things. This way, towards you humans, would be unfair. Emotions are powerful. Foxmen willingly put shackles on themselves. Is that what it means? I was silent for a moment. Finally, faintly understood my previous doubts. Evolution is fair. It created the foxman. This species so powerful it's almost incomparable, yet left an inescapable vulnerability in their hearts. A mate to a foxman is both a condition for survival and a tribulation of survival. To Xia Xiao I am exactly this meaning. When taking him to the Siberian plains, feeling the hearty wind by our ears, I shouted, "I love you" to the sunset. Only the pounding heartbeat remained in my ears. At that time, I thought, a lifetime is very short. Guarding one person will pass very quickly. The story serves as a poignant exploration of the complexity, fragility, and transformative power of unconditional love, positing that true devotion is not simply a casual choice, but an inherent, life-defining force that transcends the primal instincts of evolutionary survival. Through the intricate bond between the human protagonist and Xia Xiyao, the narrative reveals that emotional vulnerability is an inescapable dimension of deep intimacy. To select a mate is to voluntarily entrust the entirety of one's existence, safety, and happiness to another person, effectively turning that individual into one's greatest strength and most profound weakness simultaneously. By contrasting the foxman's intense biological-driven loyalty with the human perspective of love as a conscious commitment, the story illustrates that love demands a level of self-surrender that can feel both terrifying and liberating. Ultimately, the narrative highlights the bittersweet truth that while life itself is inherently fleeting and finite, the act of selflessly guarding, nurturing, and cherishing a single person grants that short span of time a sense of eternal purpose and profound fulfillment, proving that the courage to love, knowing full well it entails the risk of losses, the most significant and defining commitment a soul can ever make.